There are a variety of ways citizens right now, whether you're on a dating service or not, can go and do a background check. Here's the problem that you face. You have to acquire certain information from the person you're checking, and you might not be able to get that information. Whereas the online dating service is in the business for profit of collecting your personalized information. Among the personalized information they collect, which they don't release to the public or to any other member, but they hold in their archives, is your billing information, your address, your credit card, and all the things that the banking communities use to properly identify you now and allow international commerce to occur. With your name, with your billing address, your credit card number, and your birth date, you've got enough information that when they give that to the private background check companies to use, there are enough verification points and all those data is correlating together, and the way it's they use a matrix that correlates your identity, and it has a very high probability rate. It's not foolproof, but with that they can give that information to the background check company, and they can come back with a check. You as a private citizen don't have access to their credit card information, and the question is, what would it take for the other person on the other end to give it to you? They're not going to give it to you. So that's why they're in a unique circumstance as an online company that's collecting personal data for profit and creating card catalogs of people's personal characteristics to match them together, are in a unique position in their business to have to disclose whether they're doing checks or not, because they can do the kind of check you can't. And while I appreciate the fact that you haven't used them, the estimates are anywhere from 28 to 68 million Americans are using these things. So they are revealing things that would otherwise be protected for their privacy rights to these services for the purposes of getting matched. And what's occurring here is that these services are creating a virtual card catalog for predators to go in there. Whereas if you are living in a community and there were someone prone to being a predator that was going to prey on a single female and was really after her children, he'd be limited to whatever people go to that congregation or whatever, and you'd probably be aware that he's not such a good guy, may even have a prior record, and that would be known in your community. You can go on your local sheriff's office database, for example, and see that he's a registered predator. But if he's living in Spokane, Washington, and he has 11 million records available to him, like he would on Match.com, of vulnerable women who have all listed, and he goes through a profile checklist and says, I want a woman 30 years of age or older who's divorced, who's got at least 2 children, female, ages between 5 and 10. You can go through this card catalog and sort down to the 300 or so hits that meet that profile, and then zero in on those targets, send an email out to all of them, get the 20 women that actually respond, and chalk up a conversation without them knowing much more about you than what they got in that email. But you know a lot about them as the predator. You know what kind of person they're looking for and their vulnerabilities. The latter part of your question goes to people that or companies that do or do not do this service already. One of the largest dating services has about a 35% market share in the United States, who you'll probably hear from today, is Match.com. They have in excess of 11 million members. And Match.com discloses on their website, as a good corporate citizen should, they disclose that they do not do background checks. They also have a service where they indicate if you want a background check done, you can pay an additional fee and they will do one on you. Now, going back to the previous question by Representative Kreisman, and that is, I'm sorry, it wasn't your question, it was Randolph. Sorry, I apologize. Representative Randolph's question went to, why can't you do it versus the service? The service has access to the background check services and has personal data that they can give them to help make that check more reliable than if you, Representative Maycheck, try to contact the background service and get a check done. All you may have is the name of the individual, but you won't have the credit card information, the billing information, date of birth, and other factors that you need to correlate to help establish identity and verify the person that you're checking is who they say they are. So the services themselves have access to commercial products and background checks that you, the individual, don't. So it raises their responsibility as a service that's matching people together, that if they're offering that or not offering it, they tell you. And there's a second aspect. There's a privacy interest. If I'm signing up for a service, I want to know if the company's doing a background check on me or not. I should have a right to know that as well. So there's that component.